Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. My name is Tim Harris. It is 10 o'clock. It's time for 10 with Tim. We go verse by verse through the Word of God. We're going verse by verse right now through the book of Numbers. Numbers chapter 14, verses 26 to 45 is where we are. How are you doing? You good this morning? I hope it's a really good day for you. I hope the morning has started out right for you. It was warm this morning, which I was ready for. I'm tired of these cold mornings, y'all. We've been sleeping with the windows open, and it's been cold in the mornings. But this morning I had a good long run. It was nice. I sweated, and I jumped into the Word, and I'm ready now to go through it with you. So let's pick up where we left off yesterday. Numbers chapter 14, verse 26 is where we are. This is the explanation of the punishment for the people of God. Remember that yesterday we talked about how the spies went into the land. 10 of the spies came back with an evil report, which is such a devastating assessment. It's an evil report. It incites fear and rebellion in the people, and they we're never going to go. They, by their fear, they now are refusing to go into the land that God promised them, the very land that they were delivered from slavery for. And so they've refused to go into the promised land. So now in verses 26 and following, God pronounces the punishment upon them. Now, I know some of you, have a hard time perhaps with a punishing God, and we want God to be always infinitely good and forgiving and merciful, and He is. He is. So notice the punishment. Let's be realistic. If you're going to talk about a punishing God, let's at least talk about how He punishes. How does He punish? Well, they said they didn't want to go into the promised land. So what's their punishment? They're never going to go into the promised land. This is how God punishes. God gives you exactly what you've chosen, exactly what you've asked for. This is how He punishes. In the end, those who go to heaven and hell, understand, God just pronounces the sentence that you've chosen for yourself. Nobody can go to hell and say God sent them to hell. The only thing they can say is they chose that, and God honored their choice. So the punishment here is devastating, but also completely logical and completely self-chosen. This is what they're asking for. They're refusing to go into the promised land. So God says, all right, have it. You want the wilderness? You're going to get the wilderness. It's what they've asked for. So notice that. And God punishes you more or less by giving you exactly the consequences of your own choices. You choose it. You bring it on yourself. Nobody's going to, stand up and say, God punished them unjustly or in some way that doesn't absolutely fit the crime, And so the Lord said to Moses, how much longer am I going to have to put up with these people? Well, a little bit longer, because it just got a lot longer here. As surely as I live, declares the Lord, I will do to you the very things I heard you say. See that? That's verse 28. I will do the very things I heard you say. So the punishment, as I say, is just God simply formalizing the sentence they've chosen for themselves. You will all drop dead in the wilderness. That's what they said, right? Did you bring us out here to die in the wilderness? No, but okay, if that's what you're going to choose to do. Every one of you who is 20 years old or older. This is a small detail that I really hadn't zeroed in on until I think it was Sharon probably at some point in the reading, brought me back to this, because I think I was asking questions about who exactly died and was there anyone left, and the point is, they're children. The 20 years, the teenagers and the kids, the youth group, got to take over. So it's only those 20 years and older who are going to die. The young people will actually live. They'll remember and they will live, and they will see the promised land, but not for a long time. It's going to be 40 years, and that number comes from the fact that they explored the land for 40 days. So it's this terrible irony here that for every day that the spies, basically were able to enjoy the promised land, they're going to have a year to enjoy the wilderness that they've chosen over the promised land. Again, devastating. Verse 34 is interesting. It has a very interesting Hebrew term that only appears here in the whole Old Testament. Because your men explored the land for 40 days, you'll wander in the wilderness for 40 years, a year for each day, suffering the consequences of your sins. Here's the phrase. Then you will discover what it is like, New Living Translation, to have me for an enemy. Again, it's one Hebrew term there, and it really has to do with hostility, yes, but it's more like turning away. So it's like you're going to wander for 40 years, and you're going to experience, or you're going to know, you're going to know my turning away. That's what he's saying. You're going to know what it is to have me turn away from you. Again, it's just this God who has blessed them, and so much of what we've read is how they will be able to live in the presence of this holy God, and now he says, well, you're going to know what it is to live with my turning away. They've had his direct, beautiful presence, and now sin has severed that beautiful bond, that freedom of living in the presence of this God. They have chosen to be without him. Do you see that? And God sadly just gives them exactly what they're asking for. You can go your own way. So verse 40, they're like, whoa, okay, wait, we didn't see all that coming. Oh, okay, no, let's go. all right, let's go. Now understand, back in verse 25, God's given a new command now. He says, you must set out for the wilderness in the direction of the Red Sea. Turn around. That's what he says. Turn around. Don't go into the land. Turn around. Don't go into it. Go back toward the Red Sea. You're going to bounce back and forth like a ping pong ball in the wilderness here. It's 11 days journey, but you're going to spend 40 days, just going back and forth in this wilderness. How terrible. But again, now they're like, okay, wait. All right, we'll go. We'll go. And Moses says, well, no, that is not the offer on the table. That's not the plan anymore. You said no. You chose no. Now God says no. So what would have been faith yesterday is now rebellion. It's pride. It's presumption. Like no. And I know some people really struggle with that, but the fact of the matter is there is a timing with obedience. When you're obeying the Lord, you have to do what he says when he says. You don't just get to do what you want when you want, or what he says when you want. I mean, you surrender to God completely, or it's not surrender at all. And so now the fact they're like, okay, all right, we want a do-over. There's no do-over. They missed the opportunity. The window of obedience is closed now, and now they're going to have to live with the consequences they've chosen. But it's hard for them to accept that. So the story goes on. The people defiantly pushed ahead toward the hill country, even though neither Moses nor the Ark of the Covenant left the camp. Again, devastating words there. They defiantly push ahead. I think the Hebrew there is like they presume to go up. It's that idea of presumption. It's the pride now. It's thinking, okay, we'll just go do this. We'll go do it. The fact that Moses doesn't go, the fact that the Ark of the Covenant doesn't go, that lets them know that, God's not going along with you. You can't drag God into your sinful plan now. You can't drag him into it. And so obviously the Amalekites and Canaanites, they run, the Israelites' pants up the flagpole and humiliate them, and they go back as far as Hormah. And this is their new reality, and they've chosen it for themselves. They will not see the promised land. Those 20 and older, the adults, will not see the promised land. All they're going to see is this wilderness now until they drop dead in it. They chose that. God did not create them for this. God did not deliver them from slavery so that they could drop dead in the wilderness, but they will, because when they stood at the very threshold of the promised land, they would not go. They would not go. So again, I think it's a sobering and in some ways a scary lesson for us. There are opportunities, maybe that even this day present to you that will not come back around tomorrow. There are opportunities to obey, opportunities to be blessed, opportunities to step into a future God has for you. Opportunities today that will not be yours tomorrow. So I encourage you to be faithful today, be obedient today, follow the Lord today, so that you can know that you will be in the promised land tomorrow. we'll stop right there. We'll pick up with chapter 15 tomorrow. Chapter 15, it's a long chapter, but we'll do it. Chapter 15, verses 1 to 41. All right. Numbers chapter 15, verses 1 to 41 for tomorrow. Have a good Thursday. And I will see you in the morning, Lord willing, 10 o'clock for 10 with Tim. I love you guys. I love you. Have a good day.